it's a hole that needs to be filled, but whether that's with Sneed or with a different free agent or with somebody in the draft, who knows, right? There's a couple different options. We just know the Titans need a cornerback. They have signed Chidobe Awuzie to add to their defense. That was a good addition by all standards, I think, for most Titans fans. You have Roger McCreary, and then after that, it's all undrafted free agents. Eric Garror, Trey Avery, some of these guys who have filled roles. And Eric Garror, for what he was as an undrafted free agent, was good for the Titans last year, but you don't feel good about him as your CB2 heading into the 2024 season. And you need another guy on the perimeter to be opposite of Awuzie so that McCreary can be in the slot. Maybe that guy is L'Jarius Sneed. The question comes with the contract for me. What are the contract? What is that going to look like? Because you mentioned trading away assets, which is huge, but I generally take pause whenever you're talking about trading away assets and paying top price, because you can pay top price to anybody in free agency at any time. But when you're talking about both, it gets risky. And according to Diana Rossini, those contract negotiations are what prevented the Titans from already making this deal. Here's what she said on the Athletic Football Show.
A couple moves that haven't happened yet but are still looming here. What is the latest on the L'Jarius Sneed situation with Kansas City, and how do you ultimately see this playing out?
Well, I had my tweet up ready to go because I really thought it was going to get done last week. The Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts were really close on getting deals done. This was before the Calvin Ridley move was made by Tennessee. I don't think all trade talks are dead involving Sneed now with Kansas City. Do I believe that it's going to be Tennessee? I think the chances are obviously smaller now. Being able to pay Sneed on a new contract because he does want a new deal, obviously. And that appears to be the holdup of trying to iron that out. So the conversations are going to continue. And I do think if there's going to be more movement, we're going to see it a little bit closer to the draft.
Do you think Indianapolis is still the most likely landing spot if he is going to get traded?
I do. I know the New England Patriots, the Minnesota Vikings were also involved in conversations, or at least we're having conversations.
I don't think the Vikings are in a position to give away any draft picks right now.
So there you go. They are no longer in those conversations, New England either. So I do think when it comes down to it, I think the Colts are probably the front runner on it. But I know the Tennessee Titans were really close to getting that trade done.
For the Colts, it would very much be in line with the way they've operated in the past. If you think about the biggest splash this team has made outside of the Carson Wentz trade, which we don't really need to talk about, the biggest splash this team has made in veteran player acquisition was DeForest Buckner.
So there's the Athletic Football Show. Couple interesting nuggets there. I mean, Diana says that the Titans really close to getting this done, so much so that she had her tweet ready to go. The holdup appears to be with Sneed's contract, but did add, this is before the Calvin Ridley signing. And the Calvin Ridley signing potentially lowers the odds of that happening, but not all the way dead, and potentially more movement closer to the draft, Zach. What did you make of Diana's comments there?
Well, a couple of things. Calvin Ridley took quite a bit of money, right? I mean, he had guaranteed money in a large contract over 4 years, but doesn't mean that the Titans still don't have money. They were helped out by heading into the year with $70+ million in free agency cap space. And then the NFL boosted that up even more with more cap space. And they were spenders this offseason. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the week. As you talk about aggressive rate, they were right there at a 9. They were very, very aggressive to go flip this roster and get new players. Sneed could be that kind of icing on top. So they've gone out and they got a defensive lineman to go next to Jeffrey Simmons. They got to replace Kevin Byard in the back half for safety, right? They have to do that, and they've got to get better cornerback help. They got a first and a second round pick. They don't have a third as of now, and then they've got later round picks. What are you going to give up, and what are you willing to give up? Because, Sam, here is the caveat that I look at. You can't trade away your second round pick.
No, you cannot.
1 to 3, that don't make sense, right? And so there's too big of a gap. So on top of maybe what they're asking for Sneed on top of the compensation for Sneed, I look at the asset that you're giving up more so than the money, because the Titans have the money. Are the Titans truly ready to win right now? Win what? I think that's my question. I think they're trying to compete, maybe not compete for an AFC title, but are they trying to compete in the AFC South to host a home playoff game? Yes, I think so. Could Sneed help that? He would. I just don't know if it makes sense now with the draft compensation. I'm a little hesitant.